Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, khush aamdeed, ji ayanu, goeiemorgen.
Bakhair agale, ni hao, tuna shumme, washmale, ohio gozaimasu, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, halo shama chatore, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabi up, and a very amazing good morning to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning alongside the very fantastic, the very elegant, the very talented Shiza Hashmi and Shahzad Khan. Hello Shiza, how are you this Wednesday?
I am absolutely great. Thank you so much for asking. How are you doing?
Well, I feel great too as well, and as I always say, ladies and gentlemen, that whenever you have a disciplined life, and when you ever have some good people around you, I think that every other day is going to make a difference in your life. It's because of the fact that you're going to be upright, uptight, and you're going to be energetic. So I think that this is what we all require. And even though that I haven't had my coffee, but I still feel very ecstatic, and it's because of the fact that today, over here in the studios, ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by a very amazing guest. I've been trying to get him on the show, but yeah, I got lucky.
So before we do introduce him, I am going to take you back to what you said, Shahzad, how important it is to absolutely surround yourself with people who support you. I mean, of course, you really are somehow answerable to, I can say, to, you know, your family members and friends of, you know, keeping them in your life, but you really have to be careful of who makes you happy, who supports you, who encourages you, and who is the ladder to your success. I mean, there are so many people who unintentionally or sometimes even intentionally try to pull you down for reasons that we sometimes don't even know. So make sure that they are not a part of your life, because life is all about growth, and they will stop that.
Yeah, and you know, I know for sure and for a fact that it's going to take a little time to get rid of all of those people who actually make you feel a little stressed, or when you're around them, you feel that kind of anxiety that, you know, he or she might say something which you're not going to like very much. So I think that in the first place, if you are in a situation like that, please make sure that you withdraw yourself from that situation in the first place. But don't become a cold turkey, you know, all of a sudden things do not turn black or white. So what you have to do is give in time, give everything time, give yourself time, and eventually you'll come down to a point where it's just going to be you and your inner resolve. I think that's what it is.
But just one thing I have to disagree with. You said everything is not black or white. I do not believe
not to
in
get
gray.
into black or white.
I don't believe in gray at all. It's either black or it's either white. I mean, you're too confused for this world if you're in the gray
Okay,
zone.
what color is my shalwar kameez?
Wow.
It's great, yeah. It's great.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, Shahzad, you spoke about someone who happens to be in this industry for so long.
Exactly.
He is a voiceover artist.
Yes.
He is a presenter. He's a producer. Correct me if I'm
he's
not
an
wrong.
actor.
He has so many things on his plate. And recently, Shahzad was with him doing a show last week.
So, would you mind if I elaborate?
Oh, yes, of course,
yeah,
please.
thank you very much for saying that. So, ladies and gentlemen, so ever since music channels came into Pakistan, I think Mr. Fakhri Alam was was one of its kind, obviously. But as a matter of fact, I think that he actually set the path for all of us by becoming a VJ, which we refer to as video jockey. And the second one was he himself, and I think that he kind of broke quite a lot of stereotypes as well with the kind of work he's done while being in the Pakistani industry. So he might call himself as an outsider because of the fact that the kind of work he do, or the kind of meetings he go to, or the kind of meetups he's got, he's not one of those celebrities whom you will actually see around the corner chilling with his friends. So he's got his own zone. The way he thinks is probably close to Johnny Depp, I think, and and he always wanted to be James Bond when he was at the age of 13. So I kind of tried to get him as much as I can, but every now and then, whenever you're going to tune into your radio stations, television, you know, any other voiceover you're going to listen to, I think every other voiceover you're going to listen to will be his as well. I think he's got good grip on that too as well. And other than that, he's actually working on this part of the region as well. He's making a documentary. This is what he wanted to do in life. He's a film critic himself. And after, I think, this is my 10th year in the industry that I'm working. After 10 years, I actually got a chance to host a show alongside him, and it was one of the most fantastic shows, or the job which I've actually performed, just because of the fact that he was besides me. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, and he's also getting married next month. So, you know, this is the kind of information that I've taken out of him. And so, ladies and gentlemen, he's none other than Mr. Faizan Haq Haki. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Sat Sri Akal, we get the scene and Konnichiwa. A very, very good morning to you guys as well.
Good morning.
And I've got to congratulate you first thing. What wonderful hosts you guys are.
Thank you so
really,
much.
to see this
You
kind
made
of
our
energy
day.
first thing in the morning is amazing. You guys are really good.
Thank you very much
so
for
to
saying
begin
that.
with, are you a morning person?
I have become a morning person.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. I think that works for us.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, while I was in conversation with him, he told me that he wakes up at 5:30 in the morning, goes for a hike or a run on the beach as well, since he's living in Karachi. But ladies and gentlemen, his lineage goes back to Turks too as well. This is something which we wanted to build up on. But let me first ask, who is Faizan Haq Haki?
Faizan Haq Haki is a pretty ordinary guy who is loyal and friendly and honest. You know, so he tries to be these things. While he's being that, he's very careless. He doesn't value things enough, perhaps. You know, probably doesn't value time enough, and probably doesn't value money quite enough. That's who he is.
And what do people have to say who are actually around you most of the time about your personality? And do you
I'll rely on what they say to you instead.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, a host can never beat another host as well, and this is not what we are all about as well. So we are getting to know Mr. Faizan Haq Haki, and he's witty as well, okay? So this is one thing we've noted so far.
No one's wittier than you, buddy. I experienced his energy an entire day while we were hosting this program recently. It was the biggest gaming event in Pakistan.
Yes, I know.
And my God, I mean, my 20 years of experience, I suddenly felt like an amateur in front of this guy.
For real?
Because he knew what he was talking about, and I didn't so much, you know.
Thank you.
So really, his energy, his zest for life is on open display, and
Thank you very much for saying that.
You're a wonderful host, man, really.
Wonderful.
Take it from me, you guys are both wonderful. You're really smooth, you're really articulate, you don't say anything wrong.
Thank you so much. And, means a lot.
But let's talk about you. Hey.
Oh yeah, I was coming to that. So Faizan, since you said that we have to be really articulate, we have to be, of course, since we are hosts. Because once you've said something, either you're on TV or even radio, there's no taking back. And you don't know if hundreds of thousands of people are watching you and each one of them is going to take it in a different way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is it an added responsibility that you feel like we should be very particular about or careful about?
Absolutely. When I was a kid, in my family, there was a thing at the dinner table. Jumla अंग्रेजी में शुरू किया, अंग्रेजी में खत्म करो. उर्दू में शुरू किया, उर्दू में खत्म करो. And मैं जब 18 साल का था, I met this, I had this 34-year-old friend. I keep forgetting this is an English program,
No
and
problem.
I shouldn't mix it up.
It's all right.
When I was 18, I had this 34-year-old friend. All my friends had gone off to college abroad. I was the only one left. And I became friends with this 34-year-old intellectual who's no longer in this world. And he gave me the best advice. He said, Faizan, if you're having a gloomy day, don't say you're having a dark day.
All right.
Use the right word, because then you will be misunderstood. And, you know, miscommunication in your field, television, which I'd already joined, he said, that's suicide. So fix that about yourself. Don't ever tell me that, you know, you're having a great time if you're just having a decent time. You know?
All right.
That's great. But, you know, so I'm very sorry that I want to actually keep it very personal with Faizan as well. It's because of the fact that...
Why are you sorry? This is why he's here.
Yeah, but, you know, we can generally talk about TV and, you know, his experiences. But this is not what I wanted to talk about.
But remember, you also told me that your show is not like those other morning shows where they have people getting married.
Exactly. Nothing of that sort. So what I wanted to ask you that, you know, ever since that you were growing up, you know, your mother was actually from Lahore, and your nanny was in Lahore, your mom was in Lahore, and you were based in Karachi. So it was quite a mix of Sindhi culture and Punjabi culture. How was it when you were growing up?
I think it's the best thing to have parents from two different cultures. Slightly different or very different. Because, luckily, because of that, although I lived in Karachi and I came from an Urdu-speaking family, I was not an alien in Punjab. I spoke Punjabi. My mother's family was my reference for...
Can you really speak Punjabi?
मैं सारा दिन तारे नाल गल कर
अरे वाह जी वाह की गल लगी
एक्सेंट मेरा वो नहीं हैगा पर
ठीक है कि चोई साहब कोई रौला ही नहीं
उर्दू एक्सेंट से पंजाबी च गल हो सकती
That's great. Yeah, continue please.
हाँ तो मैं क्या बता रहा था
You were telling us about the
multicultural thing. So luckily I'm not an alien in Lahore because of that, because I had constant exposure to Lahore. I was always going back, and I loved the Lahori culture, the warmth and the you know, just so many wonderful things. I can't list them here right now. And what was also cool about being from that Urdu culture, not Urdu speaking necessarily, but culture of Urdu, you know. So I love both, and I'm not an alien in Peshawar either, because all the Pathans start speaking to me in Pashto, you know. So they think that I'm a Pathan, you know. I don't feel like an alien at all. Pakistan is not a very large country. It's entirely mine, and I own up to every part of it. So, yeah, never feel like an alien anywhere.
All right. So, Faizan, you know, listening to you and listening to this conversation, I feel like you do have sort of a knack for culture and going back in history and learning about culture, whatnot. And Shahzad already did mention that you've been working on writing or developing a script for a documentary series. Let's talk about it. We know a little bit about it, but everyone out there, they need to know.
Well, briefly, it's a documentary series, 6 parts, 1 hour each, about our history. But not just our history, but our history in world history.
All right.
So, because we were always connected to every other civilization that surrounds us, you know, we're at the intersection of China, India, the Middle East, Persia. And if the Greeks had to meet India, they would have to come through what is today's Pakistan. If the Chinese had any interaction with India, India was blocked by the Himalaya from China. So any interaction happened here, the Silk Route, Khyber Pass, the deserts of Balochistan and Sindh. So we have forever been the borderlands. You know, we've been a borderlands people with a borderlands mentality, which needs to be understood. It would give you an insight into who we are, why we think the way we think.
And how our lineage goes back in years, right?
It goes back to the beginning of human time.
Wow.
The first African wanderers, 80,000 years ago, walked over along the shores of the Arabian Sea, past Karachi, Thatta, and came over to the Indus Valley, where they discovered the monsoon for themselves.
All right. So
the rest of the world was populated from there. That's who we are.
Wow,
you know?
That's absolutely amazing to learn, especially early in the morning. BTV is where we inform you. But okay, so this is what is happening in the near future, inshallah, for you.
Yeah, inshallah.
One more thing Shahzad mentioned is your shadi that's coming up, mashallah.
Finally.
So many new things, and are you excited about it?
I love it the way he said
like,
finally.
Finally. I'm totally excited about it. I'm looking forward to it, and I think I'm doing the right thing.
With
the right person.
Okay, that's great. So let me
that.
dig in a little deeper as well. So, you know, for somebody who's actually so independent, for somebody who's a good decision maker, for somebody who knows where his life is actually going, what took him so long to decide that this might be the right time to get married?
First of all, who told you that I know where life is going?
Well, you told me.
I have no idea where life is going.
Well, you actually told me that, you know, it's about high time that we need to be in that phase of our life where it is...
where we strive for excellence, you know?
Yes.
Where we try to raise ourselves above the ordinary that we've already been.
We want to head, yeah?
Absolutely.
We want to do something great. I mean, do we not, you and I?
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Since we've spoken very heart to heart on brotherly terms, I know that this guy wants to do something amazing in this world, you know, so do I.
Yeah.
So that's our point of relation.
Yeah.
And yes, being amazing doesn't know that you'll still know where life is going. You don't know if it ends tomorrow or the day after. We don't know that.
No, but Fazan, you're not the only one. That happens for everyone. I think what Shahzad means to say is you're keeping a very good balance with it.
But hey, wait a minute.
Try to.
Wait a minute.
Try to.
My original question is,
Oh,
what
yes.
took you so long to think about that this is the right time
I was
to get
having
married?
way too much fun.
Okay.
I was having way too much fun. My experiences, the canvas of my life was so huge that I didn't want to narrow it down, you know, too soon. And it took me a long time, took me lots of experiments, you know, falling and getting up and all that stuff that's part of anyone's journey. 2 times when I just didn't like anybody enough. Who's good enough to take care of for the rest of your life?
I know,
You know, it's got to be someone special,
so that's the concept.
So it takes a while to come along.
And now, alhamdulillah, that you're going to be getting married next month, inshallah. And you're all set for that.
I think I'm very confident about
so
this.
So, Bhabi, if you're out there, you know, I think that you're actually getting married to a gem of a person as well, and we wish you best of luck for your future endeavors. Even if we're not invited, it's perfectly all right. We're going to send our wishes from here as well.
No, now we don't need an invitation, though.
Now you will be.
Please do.
Now you will be invited. There's no other way without it.
Exactly. So that's great. Now let me take you back to when you actually thought about James Bond and you used to watch all of those films and you want to do something like that.
Yeah.
How did that time go, or how did things open up for you at that time?
Experimental phase.
Okay.
You know, if James Bond seemed like a sort of an ideal, he was an ideal because he used to get away with things.
Yeah.
You know, he used to have a way of fighting back without being disgraceful.
Yeah.
He had a way of experiencing everything without making false promises.
Wow.
You know, I like that honesty. I like that swagger. I like the. So I thought James Bond was a cool guy. You know, no harm if your life was like him, at least until you got married or something.
Yeah. I would love to drive the cars he's been driven in all the movies.
All those Astons.
Honestly. Okay, but then at the same time, you know, from from being James Bond to Johnny Depp, you know, that's quite a transition as well. Johnny Depp being one of those guys where, you know, he's rated like, he's the real swagger, ladies and gentlemen. If we need to talk about that, he's a real charmer. So from James Bond to being a charmer.
Okay, I'll tell you. First of all, Johnny Depp is the wrong example of that.
Okay.
Because I used Johnny Depp as an example of something else in our discussion yesterday.
Okay, yes.
But that's not an ideal.
All right.
I always looked up to Paul Newman, Ayrton Senna.
Okay.
Those were 2 of my heroes.
Wow.
Okay. And I thought one should live and die like them.
All right.
But as I've gone on studying history, there have been so many other heroes that have come along, right from our prophet to the Chinese monk Xuanzang, to you name it, the Babur, you know. I really, really look up to certain characters, Ranjit Singh, you know. History is full of those, and I want to take a little part of all of those people that I look up to, that I respect, you know. A part of me should be Sardar Idi. A small part of me should be, you know, whoever we love.
Yeah.
You know?
Right, absolutely.
So I think I've become that over the years. You know, the guy who doesn't have one ideal, but wants to take the best from the best examples and include some part of them in myself.
And it's
I
just
think
so
that's beautiful, right?
it's cool, and I think that it's great. And for all of those people who are out there, I think if you've got kids, this is something which we need to share with them, because nowadays we really do not have people who used to be mentors. You know, people used to look up to people and they used to follow them whatever they used to say.
Right.
And irrespective of the fact whether they thought to themselves that, you know, this person might be telling me something which is not very doable, they still tried achieving it. And now look where those people are. They're very successful, and even now when you'll be in conversation with them, they'll be like what Faizan said, that, you know, a little part of me wants to be Edhi, a little part of me wants to be somebody whom I love.
Role models are so important.
Exactly. But we're
Having
lacking
someone
role
to look
models.
up to, you know.
Yeah. Well,
No,
we're lacking
definitely.
role models, right?
I think
why do you think
in our
we're lacking?
immediate environment, we kind of do.
Yeah. So what do you think needs to be done for our kids as well, so that they look up to people like you, for people like Abdul Sattar Edhi?
Well, not me.
I mean, I've been
Mr.
looking
Edhi
up to
is
you, yeah.
you know, as an example to look up to. But I will say that the culture of the world has changed somewhat. Even in the West, you know, I grew up through the 80s. In the top 10 countdown, all the people in the countdown used to be legends, from Madonna to Sting to Eric Clapton to, you know, REM. Today, it's not like that. There's a leadership crisis in the world. Look at the world's leaders right now. You know?
Right.
You can't respect more than half of them.
Thank
right?
you very much for
But once
saying
upon
that.
a time, statesmen used to be a certain way that you could
Right.
look up to. Maybe our image was false, but there was a certain stability about the world, which doesn't exist anymore.
Yep.
And
Okay.
who do you look up to? You know, everyone seems so flawed. You know too much about everybody. Those images don't sustain themselves, unfortunately. And in these times where we're not creating legends, but rather flashes in the pan, where is that going to lead you? You know, 5,000 Instagram hits, sure. You know, but will you still end up doing something of substance in your life?
Exactly.
No, I actually
Not
sort
sure.
of do agree with that, Faizan, you know, because when we were young, we used to listen to our parents, or, you know, people talk about how in the near future, everyone is going to have their 5 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people understood how that's going to be because of Instagram, probably, or Twitter, but it's happening.
Right.
Everyone is popular.
People get
and-
their due.
Yeah, and you know, it's literally all about being popular. And like you said, they lack substance. I mean, we are not developing personalities, be it in grooming our kids, be it in grooming ourselves, whatnot. So, yes, I do agree
Can
with...
I give you an example? I'm
Oh,
so
yes,
sorry
please
for
go
it.
on, please go on.
I really experienced this for myself. When I used to come to a TV station or something like PTV, I used to meet legends in the makeup room, a legend in the, you know, in some department on set.
Right.
And these were people that you wanted to listen to because they had so much to say.
Yep.
There were so many little lessons of life
Insight.
encapsulated in everything they said. Recently, you know, we do these award shows, right? And I'm sometimes the voice of those shows.
Okay.
And I came into contact with all these new age celebrities who've got millions of followers online for doing sometimes stupid things also.
For example, proposing.
And I
in front of-
realized, well, let's not even start stating examples. There are too
Yeah.
many of them, right? People always swearing at each other.
Yeah.
But what I noticed was that you can't talk to these people for more than a minute. Once the introduction is done, you want that conversation to be over very quickly.
Why is that?
I cannot stand empty personalities.
No, but why is
where
that?
I
Because
cannot.
you're, like she said, you're staring at emptiness.
That's it.
You know, you're listening to hollowness.
Exactly.
You realize that this is a programmed speech that you've learnt,
Yep.
and that's where it ends, you know?
That's it.
So you're not an interesting person anymore. The people you watch on TV and follow are not necessarily interesting people.
That's great.
They're just maybe freaks that you'll notice for one day.
Thank you very
you
much
know?
for saying that. And ladies and gentlemen, to be very honest, I think that Faizan has actually helped me to look forward. Who to look forward to. I mean, we've had conversation from back in 1970s and 1980s when Anwar Maqsood Saab and Moin Akhtar Saab were actually representing Pakistan on a very diplomatic front as well.
I mean,
you
they
know.
were our funny men, you know?
Yes.
Yes.
And they were very decent, and then they were very
They were
family-oriented themselves. And I think that, as a matter of fact, I've looked forward to all of those people too as well. But now, if I am to ask you about a fair comparison, who do you think is today's Anwar Maqsood or Moin Akhtar Saab or all of those legends who've lived there, or Tariq Aziz Saab, who do you think has got the potential to probably be the best in today's time?
That's a hard question, though.
That's a really hard question
but
in these times.
I think that I posed it to the right
Well,
person.
thank God
Okay.
some of the people from those times are still alive.
Yeah,
You know,
alhamdulillah.
thank God Anwar Maqsood is still prolific, still writing plays, still
Right,
translating
absolutely
things,
amazing.
still writing poetry. You know, so people like that are still around. Let's talk about his son for a moment, Bilal Maqsood.
Yeah.
Strings for 30 years has been a class act. don't put a foot wrong. No scandals, no rumors, no nonsense, but just good music. Right? Nothing that comes out of them offends you.
Exactly.
And that's standard. Those people are still there. Ali Azmat still exists. Okay? Still riding his bike to the Arctic Circle and back. Those people are still there for us to look to. Among the newer generation, there are some very talented people in certain areas, but nothing to replace the best that we've seen. मैं अक्सर एक बड़ा मशहूर म्यूजिक का प्रोग्राम है, उस पे मेरा एक I really like that program, but my only criticism is if I've heard Mehdi Hassan perform a certain kalam by Ghalib a certain way, do I really want to hear a pop singer do that with 20 other musicians?
Exactly.
Not really. I've heard it better.
I know, and often I can sort of relate. There's some amazing stuff from the past that before even I was born, but it's absolutely amazing to listen to because of the content itself. Unfortunately, the newer version of it has ruined it for me. I mean, there's so many I can name right now, but I really don't want to because of course artists are artists. I know what you mean, but like it's literally ruined because it doesn't have the soul in it anymore, and a lot of people. I'm not pointing out anyone, but a lot of people are literally just doing it for the money.
I think I'm going to disagree to this.
I mean,
it's not that always the newer job is not better than the older
Absolutely.
one.
There are some that I can
exactly.
Otherwise, अगर हम ये कहेंगे, then we will become that generation which just never used to like anything from their children's time.
Exactly. Don't be the crybabies. Don't want to be that.
No.
So very quickly before we wrap up, Mr. Fazan, we want you to share your peace of mind. With the world out there, we are opening our windows of hope in 46 different countries. Please go ahead and make sure you tell them everything.
I'll share with you the motto of my life, for a few years. Life's like the surf, it's only there for a little while. So give yourself away like the sea.
Wow. That's just great. Thank you very much for saying that. And thank you very much for accepting my offer as well. And
Listen, I have not only become a fan of the two of you, but Shehzad, you and I have become friends now.
Done. Okay. Thank you very much for saying that.
Long may this friendship continue.
Inshallah.
It doesn't end here. So the conversation between us will continue.
Inshallah.
Can't wait to have you back after your shadi, inshallah, and speak about how there's a difference in your life. Thank you so much for joining us, Fazan.
Wonderful,
Ladies and
sister.
gentlemen,
Thank you.
On this note, we're heading out to a very short break, but when we come back, we are going to give you even more information about how to live your life in a way that a lot of people are not. Let's just say
or
that.
probably let me help Shiza over here, ladies and gentlemen.
Please.
Challenges posed by people in today's time. I think that's the correct word to say.
Yes.
But even you were right as well. Thank you very much for giving it away, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere because when we guys come back, we'll try to help you with all of those challenges.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Stay tuned. Good morning. Welcome back to World This Morning with Shahzad Khan and Shiza Hashmi, ladies and gentlemen, on a beautiful Wednesday morning. It's beautiful in Islam, but that's why I said so. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the first segment, we had an amazing conversation with one of Shahzad's friends and one of the colleagues from the industry. He was Faizan, an anchor, a presenter, a producer, whatnot. But right now, we have sort of shifted to another discussion, and this one, for sure, is going to help each and every one of you watching right now.
Exactly. So thank you very much for saying that, Shiza, and it's because of the fact that, ladies and gentlemen, while we were in conversation with Mr. Faizan Haki, and he kind of reiterated upon all of us that it is very important to look up to people who actually are mentors and who have actually done something very beneficial and very solid in their life.
And who are men of substance.
Exactly, and who are men of substance as well. But then at the same time, you know, with 21st century, I think that we've got different challenges. I mean, it's a digital world, and digital world poses different challenges than the world we were living in before. And to speak about how to overcome all of those challenges in life, we've actually been joined by, it's a relatively new field over here in Pakistan. And we get to see these motivational speakers, and at times I think that, you know, I can probably be one. And then there's this discussion, okay, what have you done so far in life? But
because of all the things that I know about you, I really think you can be one.
Yeah, thank you very much for saying that. And this was the next thing which I was about to say, that wait till the time I become one and I'm going to let you know. But other than that, you know, it's not just because over here, I still feel that, you know, we still have that void, we still have that gap where kids cannot actually do goal setting by themselves. You know, they really need a mentor, or, you know, fathers. I mean, my father actually never told me what to do next, and it's because of the fact that he kind of survived the day by himself. So this is not how it is, and I think that this is not how it is done in today's time, and we really need to think, and we really need to address all of these issues. And to talk about these issues, we've got some amazing guests over here in the studios, and on my right hand side, ladies and gentlemen, we've been joined by a motivational speaker. He knows his work, he knows what he's doing, he knows what he says. He's none other than Mr. Habibullah. Hello, assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Wa alaikum assalam, Shahzad, how are you?
Thank you very much, I'm absolutely perfect. And thank you very much for joining us alongside Mr. Habibullah, ladies and gentlemen. It's been 6 years roughly, I think, that I'm hosting this show for PTV World, which is World This Morning. The guy made an appearance 4.5 years ago, and he's back on the couch again. Ladies and gentlemen, he's an entrepreneur himself. He's a life coach. He's CEO Work, and he's none other than Mr. Muhammad Ali Janjua. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you guys doing?
Absolutely perfect. Thank you very much for joining us. Wonderful to have you. So let me start the conversation with you. 21st century, digitalization, issues which our generations are facing right now.
I think the number one thing when it comes to goal setting is realizing that we're human.
Okay.
Even in the digital age.
Okay.
And being human, the number one thing that matters as a human being is happiness.
Yep.
And
but this is something which I'm reminded every day, you know, when I log on to a website and, you know, there's a box which pops up and says, make sure that you're not a robot. Type in everything. So, you know, that's the time when I get to know I'm a human. Yeah, but happiness. See, I think that this is something which I can build up on very beautifully as well. Because, you know, we work. Why do we work? To get paid. And when we get paid, what does it do to us? We are happy.
Yeah.
You know, and so other than that, you know, we have kids in life. Why do we have kids? Because they make us happy. So all of those things which we are doing as humans, majority of the time we just want to be happy. But is it all right to just be happy, not to be sad?
Okay. So I think the realization of happiness only comes through sadness.
Okay.
So everything in this world is balanced, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it balanced. So there's positivity and there's negativity, sadness and happiness. You would not know what happiness is if you don't feel sadness.
If you're not sad, yeah. Wow, that's great. What do you have to say, Abhi?
About the happiness and the sadness?
Yes. Do you think that it should only be happiness that we should revolve around, or there are other things to look forward to?
Well, I guess 4 days back I wrote a quote on happiness. Sadness is the price to your happiness.
Okay.
So you have to you know, go through a painful process in order to be where you want to be, in order to be happy.
So more the price, more happiness?
Exactly.
Oh, come on, don't say that.
More the pain, more the happiness.
No, I think
directly
that is
proportional.
All right, so that is because probably what I understand from this is because, of course, when you're going through a hard time, a really hard time, only then do you miss the good times, of course, and then when you finally do get the good times, you were so thankful of, you know, that you're not going through that one anymore. So, of course, first of all, thanks to your creator that he's helped you through all of that. But my question is a little different for both of you. I think we've had this discussion in the room before, but I didn't get my answer. So when you say you're a motivational speaker, this, so can we call it an industry? Well, this is booming. I mean,
it
this
is
is
an
sort
industry,
of a
yeah.
profession.
We do, you know, there are TEDx talks and there's so many other things which are happening. So it's an industry.
I mean, it's
now.
good. I happen to know some people who are motivational speakers. They're doing an amazing job. But now this is a question, me being an audience, I'm going to ask you. Why should I listen to you? Why should I listen to your motivational story? I mean, what is it there for me? And why can anyone, you know, just come up and be like, hey, I'm a motivational speaker.
Or in short, she's asking,
no offense, I'm literally
who are
asking
you
for, yeah,
that I listen to you?
Okay, so that's a great question. I think number one, I don't even consider myself a motivational speaker.
But life coach,
right? I think what people need to realize and understand is that if you have done anything successfully in your life, and if you genuinely want to see other people successful and spread that around the society and the people, then you, and it needs to come from the heart.
Okay.
You want to share what you have gone through, what you have learned through your mistakes, what shortcuts you can take because you have gone through a path and other people have not, and you can tell them what to avoid and what not to avoid and how to fight those days when you can't get up.
Wow, beautiful.
So when somebody needs to listen to me, or any motivational speaker for that matter, they need to look at, is that person going to add value to my life?
All right.
If you cannot add value to somebody's life,
right,
you don't have a right to them giving you even a minute of their time.
Thank you very much for saying that.
That was beautiful, actually.
Yeah, but I think that we'll have to actually break it down for people to understand it better. Now, okay, so I believe that everybody who's actually a part of, you know, such kind of, you know, a lecture or probably, you know, this motivational speaking thing, I believe that they actually are looking for success. They're looking for a career which is going to be fruitful for them. What is the right attitude for success?
I guess a human mind always needs a reminder. And for that purpose, the very first thing that we do, we always look for people who we think that they are successful. Okay. And here I would, you know, use a very confusing quote by John C. Maxwell, and do not ask me to repeat that. So your problem is not your problem. Your problem is something that you call a problem is not a problem, because it was never a problem. But now it has become a problem because now you considered it's a problem. Yeah. And now that's a real problem, and now you are in a problem.
So you yourself considering that this is a problem is actually going to be a problem.
And most of our time we are working on things that are not, you know, basically our problems.
Okay.
This is basically the, you know, substitute of the quote. Yeah. And the first step that we need to do, we need to get rid of the friends that, you know, arise negativity out of us, that arise demotivation out of us. Whenever we share our ideas, our vision, purpose in life, and all of us, we do have, you know, certain point that, you know, we want to reach somewhere. And when we, how do we get lost? We talk about that to certain people, and usually what happens, we have people, they are lost by themselves, and they tell you, oh, no, you cannot do it, because themselves they couldn't do it.
Right.
So now you need to find people who can, you know, show you the way, who can remind you of your own worth. So there are 5 points about, you know, Ali Bhai talked about adding value. So number one thing, you add value to people's life.
Okay.
And number two, you think of the ways to add value. Number three, you do things to add value to people's life.
Okay.
And number four, you make people realize that you're adding value to their lives. And number five,
that's very important.
You keep telling other people to add value to other people's life.
Right.
So I think the last two are very important.
Right,
making others realize, and then you keep on adding, and you keep on telling other people.
Right. So gentlemen, here's the thing. In the first segment, I don't know if you were listening or not, we spoke about how we think, of course people can disagree, but we think that in olden times we had a lot of role models and people to look up to and, you know, shape our personalities according to them. But lately, everything is so distorted. So if you were looking at character building of the youth for right now, since you both happen to be having, you know, direct access to them and their minds as well, how is it possible? Can you do that? And can you make them, like, believe in themselves and make some role models and, you know, make them realize that this is what you have to be? Or choose, of course they can choose,
So I think the number one thing in the, you know, I think we are all blessed because of the biggest role model in our life has been Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that has allowed us to know what a perfect human being is. So for us to follow in his footsteps is obviously the ideal thing to do. Now, the challenge we face today is we don't have things visibly in front of us as we are today. What can we do? people relate to other people or people listen to other people only from the point that if they can connect with them.
Okay.
If it's relatable. Right.
Right. So a common man, and I'm a common man, and everybody outside is a common man. The common man thinks about his day-to-day problems.
Right.
What is he facing on a daily basis?
Right.
How is he going to feed his family? What challenges does he have at work? What challenges does he have, in his family, friends, whatever? The common man wants a solution to those problems, right? How do you do that? I think the first thing that all of us need to, I always believe that if people understand it, it would make their life so easy that there's nobody who has a perfect life. Nobody. Every single person in their life will have challenges.
Of course.
The difference between the ones who end up being successful and the ones who end up not making it is only one.
How they take up the challenge?
And the fact that they never give up.
Yes, so important.
So if a person continues to walk, even if he's crawling, he's dragging his body on the ground,
right.
but he's
moving.
Going somewhere, he's moving. That person has a chance of getting somewhere in life.
Okay. So the pace doesn't matter. I mean, really,
absolutely, because what might be success for me might not necessarily be success for him.
Right,
his goals are different, his success. So I think the first thing people need to evaluate and understand is having clarity of what their goal is and what is happiness for them.
Absolutely.
And if you stop or you go backwards, there is no way you will end up being successful, no matter what.
Thank you so much for saying that. And Habibullah, before you answer what I asked, I have something even more interesting for you.
Sure.
So we have a segment called Picture of the Day. So we're going to put a picture on the screen, and the first thing that comes to your mind by seeing it, just go ahead with it, okay?
Sure.
Can we have the photo on the screen?
Let's do it. Okay.
Let's start with you, Habibullah.
Okay, so it's I would see, jumping from, one step to another step.
I don't know whether you can jump with your fins, though.
Filling in your life with one another step.
Yeah.
That's what
What about you?
Freedom.
Yes, freedom can be one of them. Shazad, what about you?
Okay, so what I want to say about this picture, ladies and gentlemen, is that a lot of times I think that human beings are not able to realize that the kind of situation they are in is actually going to be very fulfilling for the rest of their lives. So what they do is that since it's human nature, they look forward to other things as well, which they think are bigger in size and will be better. But eventually, if you realize it's just a movement from one aquarium to another one, where the fish will actually not be able to do any better. I think that she would have, because the goldfish memory is just for microseconds as well.
I think you said it well, but there's another fantastic thing that comes out from this is that it's a fish, right? It's swimming in a fish bowl, and there's a fish bowl right next to it, which is bigger. And what that picture really shows is that the fish, because it believes in itself, it is propelling itself into another space because of that self-belief.
Exactly. So yes, that is what I got out of it as well.
This is what I'm going to say. This was my question. Okay, I'm sorry that I'm going to say that. Thank you very much. You said it. Hold on to your thought. Hold on to your thought. Now, what I meant by saying all of that is that how many, because while the fish is propelling and it's going to go into another one, the life's going to be same. And this is what people miss out on, that we put in a lot of hard work in things which are really not going to make a difference in our life. So is it better to propel for something which is bigger and greater and will bring about a change in your life, or something which is going to be similar but you thought that it's going to be better?
I think it's a fantastic question.
Thank you.
And you know how I relate that? I relate it to everybody, including me, thinks about how much money we're going to make, how much money we're making. I believe we have it upside down. We should be concerned about how much money are we spending and how much money do we need to spend. And the difference between how much money we're making and how much we want to make is called happiness. Because somebody could make an X amount and he's putting in 3-4 hours a day extra because he wants to make a little bit more. And granted, everybody wants to make more money. The question is it worth taking out 4 additional hours a day of his life instead of perhaps giving it to his family or his friends or his kids, whatever that he wants to do, and spending that on himself? Or is it worth putting in those 4 extra hours, getting the money, and then giving it away to somebody else for a materialistic thing in exchange.
What do you have to say about this?
I guess, and it varies to everybody.
Yes, of course.
Everybody has different situation and everybody has different approach. But I guess 90% of the people, earlier and I were talking about this stuff, you know, if I'm driving a small car, I mean, let's say I'm driving a Mehran, and I have a friend who is driving GLI. So now I don't want GLI because it's comfort. I want GLI because my friend has got it.
Right.
So I guess most of us, we want to make more of the money because people are making money, not because we want money. So we need to really understand that.
Right.
And I think if that's the process we are to follow, then ladies and gentlemen, actually surround yourself with friends who have got private jets. Then do not surround yourself with GLIs.
All
Don't
right,
do
so
that.
towards the very end, we're always short on time. I know that, but we love speaking to you. So I'm just assuming that since you both are motivational speakers, you're good with your words. A very quick one-liner to empower the youth out there who's watching you right now. Very quickly,
Look
let's
them
start
into
with
the
you.
eye.
Here's your camera.
Yes.
So the thing I talk about is entrepreneurship, and our country needs entrepreneurs. And I was here 5 years ago and I said something, and I'm going to repeat that today. There are two sorts of people in this world. There are people who work for other people, and there are people who other people work for. The choice is yours to make.
Wow, beautiful,
Wow, that's great.
beautiful.
Okay, I'm just going to say be a good listener. That's
Oh,
it.
that matters a lot. Thank you so much for being here, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, since we are, again, short on time. So if there's anything you need to write to us, write on a Facebook page with the name of
World This Morning.
On Twitter.
World This Morning with RTG.
On YouTube, PTV World or World This Morning, and the repeat you can catch at 5 + 11 p.m. tonight.
Till the next time, 1, 2, 3. Good morning.